Welcome in. This is Case Files 365, and my name is Trudy. Tonight, we're going to talk about Nancy Guthrie. And I want to talk about the FBI. I want to talk about Sheriff Nanos. And I want to talk about Porch Guy. I want to take us back to Porch Guy, the day we found Porch Guy. Okay, so that was found by the FBI. I'm going to put that in the win column for the FBI. Instead of the sheriff thanking the FBI for getting us that critical footage, I believe there was an internal shift to defending his department and defending his investigation. I believe that that's also the day there's some internal conflict going on. I don't know if it started that day exactly. All I know is there was some internal friction coming from a whistleblower saying, hey, we got a problem with the sheriff. We don't have confidence in him. And they were laying out why they didn't have confidence in the sheriff. It had nothing to do really with the Nancy Guthrie case. That started from, in my opinion, years before and his resume. And the sheriff has defended that. But that was huge because the sheriff, he has his hands full, right? He's defending the celebrity family, the Guthrie family, from attack from the circus of social media, you know. And then he's also defending his department from scrutiny, right? Because they were saying, oh, you released the crime scene too soon, blah, blah, blah. There was a whole lot of finger pointing going on. And there was also this big red question that came up of, why are you saying nope? You're saying nope to interviews, you're saying nope to searches, you're saying nope, 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 nope. Nope became a problem. When you shut the public out, you break the partnership. Needed to identify Porch Guy. That was key, guys, in my opinion. So there was three things that I have a tally, right, that went wrong. So the leadership cost tally. There was 3 hours of lost air search. There are 4 days of lost DNA time, and the broken partnership with the public. The Guthrie family is still asking for the public's help. Let that sit there, guys. Because I saw on social media where they're saying, oh, no, they're just going back to regular life. They just want this gone. They're not out there going with signs saying, where's Nancy? Where's my mom? Have you seen my mom? No. What the Guthrie family is asking is, do you recognize Porch Guy? They're not sitting on their hands. They are asking the public, do you know who this is? That hasn't changed, in my opinion. They're still wanting to find Porch Guy. So that's what I want us to look at, is the focus needs to be on Porch Guy and finding him. Will that mean that we need to get rid of Nanos? That was a question that was led by social media saying, hey, will it be better if we get rid of Sheriff Nanos out of the equation? Well, there is a movement for that. There is an effort being done behind the scenes to get him to resign, which I don't think he's going to do, not willingly. But we have to wait and see on that one as well. I really think the problem came on that day of Porch Guy. Yes, it shifted the narrative that we no longer need people out in the boots on the ground searching, because the boots on the ground that's needed is to find Porch Guy. Because if we find Porch Guy, we find what happened to Nancy or where Nancy is. I think sadly everybody's kind of moved on from the hope of finding her with us. I think that came with one of the notes that was shared with us from Savannah. I don't blame the Nancy Guthrie family for having to say, this is where we're at. We have kids to take care of. We got bills to pay. We have to return to what we do to make money and support ourselves. We can't, Savannah's gone and said why she's going back, to her normal job. She's answered that question, guys. It's what her mom would have wanted her to do. So I think we're left with, in closing, this is the question I want to make sure I wrote it down, because I have a hard time wording it right when on these videos. When a leader protects a reputation instead of the evidence, who is the system really serving? That's the question I want to leave this video on. And if you're still here watching me ramble about this, I thank you. I haven't lost my heart in wanting to know what happened to Nancy. I don't think the FBI has lost heart in finding the answers. I think their hands are tied and they're waiting on DNA. That's where I think we're at with the Nancy Guthrie case. And I wanted to come on here and say, let's stop the finger pointing on who's right and who's wrong. Let's look at where it went wrong. That's where I think we can best serve the public. Where did this go wrong? Is it at the hands of nanos? That's what I'm asking today. I think a lot of people are asking that. And I think it's a fair question. Did his ego cost this relationship with the public and his confidence and finding Porch Guy? Because I've heard it on statements from listening to people voice their speculations and theories. They're like, we no longer trust what comes out of the sheriff's mouth. And that's a sad day. That is a real sad day. I hope that we find Porch Guy, guys. I hope that we stop finger pointing on who's right and who's wrong. And the only person that's wrong in all of this is Porch Guy. He fumbled around on that porch looking for flowers to take off a camera that could have been whacked off easily with the little gun in front of his private areas. I hope we find him. I hope for that day, and I hope that the evidence is there, and I hope they build the case, and I hope it's strong. Because it's not just about finding him. It's about what happens in that courtroom after we find him. All right, guys. Give me a follow if you're not already following me. I will be doing more cases soon. Bye.